Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Standing at the door, looking back at life as it's been before, holding on to things that might have been, knowing that this day will never come again. As my
Welcome to Soul Chat. I'm Jane McGuire, and that is my co-host, who is currently up in, I believe, Calgary, Canada, Elena Ristos, singing our theme song to the show. So today I have a special guest co-host today, and that is Mary Rose, a very well-known psychic here in town. Very excited to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. Believe me, this is my second time here.
Right.
And I love being with you guys. It's a pleasure.
Well, feel free to come in when Lainey decides to go out of town. We're good with that. We're good, you know. So you are a well-known psychic. You also do quantum healing. Yeah,
not
correct?
Quantum healing. I do quantum energy sessions.
Quantum energy sessions. Okay, so for those of you for those people that don't know what that is, can you explain that?
Well, basically, Julie Renee is the one that started this. She had the human blueprint. And what happens is that you go in and clear out all of the old contracts you have from past lifetimes. So, for instance, if you were a slave in one lifetime and you completed that lifetime, what happens is you don't always get rid of the contract.
Okay.
So you're limited by whatever that contract was. So if you couldn't have money, if you couldn't have property, you couldn't have a life, whatever, you're limited by that. So if you don't get rid of that during that lifetime, when that lifetime is over and that's completed, you carry it from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime.
I need to come see you. There's just I think I have some energy contracts that need to be broken.
Yeah, so it's all the contracts and limitations from the past that's keeping you from going forward. Yeah. So what we do is we go in through your brain, we clear out all those old contracts, all the fuzz bunnies, all the tired brain.
Right.
Then we start going through your body, and we call it your master stem cell. We all have the master stem cell that we were born with in our brain. And so that master stem cell goes through your body, and it has even been known to regenerate whole organs.
Oh, okay. So this would be very interesting for people that are having chronic illnesses and things that
Well, I'm not the healer. I'm just
the vessel.
I'm the camera.
The camera.
I'm the camera.
I'm the vessel.
You're the vessel.
I'm the vessel.
Yeah, I'm not the camera. I mean, I'm not the healer. No, what I do is I call forth that master stem cell, and it created you when you were in the womb. So it knows how to put you back together whole.
Okay.
And that's what it does.
All right. So some of the effects of this, what are some of the effects you've seen on people that have done this work with you?
Oh, it's been amazing. First of all, the limitations are off. So you start achieving more. You start getting more wealth, prosperity, success, things where you couldn't go forward before you do start moving forward.
So things start to fall into place.
Right. And it just seems like it's easy.
Wow.
Whatever obstacles you've had, like, for instance, if you don't have a whole life, if there's some area of your life that is not complete or whole, what happens is when you start doing the quantum energy healing, you get rid of all of those old contracts. Everything just comes together, and you don't even realize it has changed, but you realize that things have changed.
And so, like other energy modalities, this can be done distantly, I would think.
Yes.
Okay.
I can do it over the phone, or I can do it in person. It takes about 2 hours. Some of the results have been outstanding. As I told you, I'm not the healer. We had one lady, she had molecular degeneration in her left eye, and she did not say anything to me. I've been friends with her for many years. She also had a black spot in her eye, and she couldn't see. It was covering 1/3 of her vision in her eye. And so when we called out the master stem cell, what it did was it got rid of the black spot, which your medical doctors cannot do. Happened to be a blood vessel that had popped in her eye, and the blood had ran between her eye.
Oh, wow.
And so it had caused a black mark, and she lost a third of her vision. Well, when we did the quantum energy session, her stem cell went in there, cleared all of that out, cleared up the molecular degeneration. She also was starting to get a cataract in that eye, and it cleared that out.
Oh,
So
that's
now
awesome.
she has 100% vision back in that eye.
And so I want to know, has she gone back to the doctor and said something to the doctor?
You know, I didn't ask her that question because it's going to be interesting because he will
Yeah.
have to document
Yeah.
that is no longer there.
Absolutely. I would love for her to go back. So if she's listening,
Yeah.
and I know you're not going to divulge her name, but if she's listening, that client of Mary Rose's, please call your doctor.
Well, the thing is that I talked to her yesterday,
Oh, good.
and she has no black spot at all.
Awesome.
So she's still seeing, this was in
Cool.
November when we did that, and she still has no black spot at all in her eye. She doesn't have the problems with her eye she was having before, and she's
Wonderful.
just happy as she can be.
So how do people get in touch with you if they want to get either a psychic reading or a healing session with you?
Well, they can call me at 702-583-1517, and then we can go from there because I
Right.
can do it over the phone or in person.
Right.
I've always been able to see in people's bodies, but I didn't know what I was supposed to use it for until this came along.
And I understand that. I understand exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. You've given a gift, and then years later, you're like, now I get it.
Now I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drop it in a postcard.
Yeah, you finally find out what it was
Right.
used for. And as I told you, I'm not a healer. All I do is I call forth that stem cell, and what that stem cell does for each individual is different.
Right, sure.
One lady was getting sick. The doctors couldn't find out what was wrong with her, and so we did a quantum energy session on her. And she had black mold all in her body, and I said, have you been somewhere where it's real musty or
Yeah.
moldy or anything?
Yeah.
She was in Katrina.
You know, you work with mold?
I do work
You
with
do
mold.
work with mold? Okay, then I definitely have someone that I want to refer to you, and we'll do that off air.
I don't work with it.
No,
The
okay,
stem
but
cell
you know
does.
what I mean. You know what I mean. But I definitely want to refer someone to you that has
Yeah.
a case of mold, and this is a friend of mine that I've known for quite a few years, and I think that this would be an amazing thing for her to do.
Well, she had it so bad in her body, it was on her bones,
Yeah.
it was on her, around her heart, around her lungs.
We're
it was
talking
in
about
her
the same
kidneys.
person. Yep.
Lene?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
different person. Yeah, no, there's, but and it's unfortunate. There's a lot of mold going on here in Las Vegas, but that's a whole other show.
Well,
So-
like I say, I don't do any healing. I just call it forth, and then what I am, I'm the camera that tells you
Right.
what it's doing.
Right.
So it shows me the before, and then it shows me the after, and it's just an amazing thing.
So let's go into a little bit about our topic today. We're talking obviously about you and some of the other stuff that you and I do. I'm also a psychic here in town.
Yes.
And we have a mutual friend, Elena Risto, obviously the co-host
Exactly.
that's not here today. But anyway, you and I pretty much work with the same being.
Yes,
You
we
know.
both work with Mother Mary,
Yes, we do.
the Virgin Mother Mary.
Right? And I think the harshest thing I've ever heard her say was, "Oh, that person is just confused."
I wish that was the harshest thing she'd ever said
That's
to
pretty
me.
much what I get from her. So yeah, she doesn't talk to me in any other way other than just the love and all that, or she'll send one of her angels to me.
Well, she gets
So-
pretty blatant with me. She tells me pretty clearly what
Oh,
she's talking
there's
about.
well, just individually talking to me, yes. But if I'm reading a client, it's a very different.
Oh, yeah.
type
When
of
I'm
a-
reading a client, she's
Yeah.
very gentle.
Yes,
She's very,
yes.
very gentle spirit to work
Very
through.
gentle spirit. And so so you and I were talking about the energy of, especially this past month, and I'm going to tell you something that I've been hearing from a lot of my friends that are also healers with various modalities, and a lot of my clients and just people in general. People have been tired this December. They've been exhausted. They're sleeping 10 hours. They're taking naps. They're unable to stay awake. What is going on?
Well, let me explain something to you. Every October, November, December, January, everybody gets sick. Well, when you get sick like that, your main spirit guide is gone.
Okay.
So they go off to school. They get the new instructions for you for the coming year. What
Oh,
you're going to
God.
do, what you have to learn.
Mine would have to have a
what changes you're
PhD.
gonna have. Yeah. So they don't want you out wandering around. So you get sick. You get the flu. You get sick. You get tired.
Right.
Now, since we're coming into the new energy of 2015, which is the light ages, because now we're completely done with the dark ages.
Yay.
So now instead of making you sick, they're making you tired.
Okay. So they
So-
can stop that now.
No, they still have to make you tired because they don't want you out wandering around without them.
This is Vegas.
Well, you do have secondary
Right.
guides
Right.
that come in and
Yes.
take their place, but sometimes you're so used to the one that, you feel a little discombobulated.
Yeah. But I've noticed that's been just something for a lot of people, though, and it doesn't seem to matter what the belief system is. I've noticed it with friends that have earth-based. I've noticed it with Buddhists, Christians, Jews, with
Exactly.
everybody. It doesn't matter what their belief system is.
Well, actually, in spirit, I'm not sure there is one religion.
Right.
know,
Right. That's right.
To me, Buddha is just one of the lifetimes of Jesus Christ. With the American Indians, he came out as the spirit, as the big spirit,
Right.
because during those times we didn't have the communication we have now. So if you were Indian or Chinese or whatever, they had to appear as they were.
Yeah,
Because we
absolutely.
didn't have the
Sure.
communication, we didn't have the knowledge that we have now. Sometimes people didn't even know the American Indian existed, or the Chinese person existed, or the white person existed. They didn't even know. So
Right.
they had Jesus Christ had to appear as each of those symbols, and I just think they're just different lifetimes of Jesus Christ.
So, what is coming? You mentioned that we're at the end of the Dark Ages. A couple of questions. How long have these Dark Ages been going on?
For over 2,000 years, and it's usually
So,
about 2,000
so did
years.
did like God go on vacation or something? I mean, come on.
No, what happened was the Virgin Mother Mary took over in the year 2000.
Okay.
And when she took over, we had a 15-year bridge between the Dark Ages and the Light Ages. So as of 2015, we're going to have manifestation. It's going to be going so fast that the minute you think it, you're going to start receiving it. So you want to be sure and think the right thoughts, because your brain doesn't know the difference between a negative or a positive thought.
Right, but your heart does.
Your
Your
heart
heart-
does,
yeah.
but when it manifests, it doesn't know the difference. So if you're thinking negative, like we've all been thinking during the Dark Ages, you better knock it off, because they're going to put their boot on your throat, and you're going to manifest exactly what you're thinking.
So I think this has a lot to do, and again, you and I have had some of the same visions over the years. Actually, and last time we talked, we had a similar vision on the same day. But years ago, I got the message that there was going to be a time of rioting and a lot of upheaval, and that mental illness was really going to show its face. And I believe that, given what this has transpired this year with, here in Las Vegas, losing our 2 cops, and then Ferguson, and then the 2 cops recently in New York, and then the cop the other day in Arizona, all this rioting, I actually think it's meant to be. What's your feeling on
Well, it is meant to be, because the earth is clearing itself of the negative people that don't belong here. Easter a year ago, the Virgin Mother Mary said to me, things are going to get right on this earth, and I mean, they're going to get right.
Yeah.
And anyone that wants war on this earth is going to be taken off of the earth. And
Oh, wow.
So as we've noticed the last 2 or 3 years, we've had a lot of people taken off.
Yeah, we really have.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate for the victims of some of these people that their rage is coming up.
Absolutely.
And it's my belief that this rage is coming up because, again, they're disconnected from source.
Yes, they are
They're
disconnected.
disconnected, and when you're disconnected, you're going to feel that anger and that rage, and at some point, you're going to act on it.
But as I told you, if you're living in negative thoughts, you're going to create those negative
Right.
thoughts.
Right.
So it's very important right now, especially going into the new year, that you start thinking in positive ways, not in doubtful, fearful ways. Because really, the fear and doubt we should be over with.
Right.
Starting this next year.
Right. So what are some of the steps that people can take? I know I've discussed this on previous shows, but let's talk about the beginning person that is kind of sitting there saying, what are these 2 women talking about, manifesting and all that kind of stuff. Let's go back to that point, and let's give the beginners some tips here on what to do.
Okay, manifestation, the definition and the way you manifest is basically you think it, you release it, you receive it. And over the years, it's taken us maybe several months or years to manifest what we really wanted. Now the time is shortening, so you're going to start getting it almost instantly. One of the techniques that I teach my people is that, let's say, for instance, you need money. Okay, you need to pay the bills, you need to pay the car payment, you've got an emergency come up with your car. Let's say you need money. So what I do is I tell my people to think of a balloon over their head, put that thought in that balloon, see themselves either cut the string or let the string grow. And the minute they let go of it, the answer's there, because the answer is always there before the solution. But most of us are so used to pulling on the problem that we forget to pull on the solution.
Yeah.
But the solution was there first, otherwise the problem
Right.
would not have
Well, you can't create the solution from the same vibration that you created the problem.
Exactly.
So, because the solution comes in peace, and it comes in confidence, and it comes in humility.
Right, and that's why if you put it in a balloon and let it go. Now, some people can't visualize a balloon in their head, so I say go buy some balloons and put papers on the balloons and let the papers go.
Right.
When you let that balloon go now, as fast as manifestation's coming in, you're going to see sometimes within seconds, minutes, hours, a day that you have the perfect solution, even if it's a big problem.
Good. Okay, so that means people can really take charge of their own healing, of their own life, and when they and at the same time surrender also, right?
And it's really just a one-step process. We just go one step, one step, one step, one step, and then pretty soon we're done. You know, we know all the techniques and things. So if you just start with that one step doing the balloon, that's a great one to bring back the divine answer for you.
And one of the other things that I suggest to my clients and various people is to use the I am affirmations when you're manifesting. I am is a very powerful phrase.
Yes.
And you're calling in the name of the divine, and so you want to finish that sentence with something positive.
Yes.
I am healthy. I am in a healthy relationship. I am able to pay my bills with grace and ease. Those kinds of things.
And that's the way you want to put it in the balloon.
Yeah.
Because if you say, I want, or bring me, or I would like to have, that's a negative form.
Well, and it's also that's not very confident. That's kind of putting out a maybe kind of an attitude.
Yeah, you have to do it as though you already have it.
Right, exactly. And so visualization helps with that.
Thank you for the beautiful new Corvette I got. Thank you for the new Mercedes. Thank you. I appreciate this.
Right,
and appreciation's another thing that you want
to
express.
Gratitude is huge. Absolutely. Going into gratitude and saying thank you for bringing this to me. You're absolutely right about that. So some of your predictions for 2015.
Well, to me, this year was the worst of years because all the planets went retrograde at some time this year, and now those are all out as of December 21st. All the retrogrades are out. Now, Jupiter is back in retrograde going into the new year, but Jupiter really doesn't have too much effect on your life. Now, when Saturn's retrograde or Pluto's retrograde or Mercury's retrograde, it's going to play havoc in your life.
And you and I were talking before the show about the last big power day, not including Christmas, but the winter solstice. And Elena Risto came over to my work at Karmic Connections and did a winter solstice drum circle with a couple of journeys in there. It was wonderful. And then that was also a new moon. So people were setting the intention for what they wanted to do with this new moon. And then you said something interesting.
And Uranus also came out that same day.
Yes.
And then on the 22nd, we had a meteor shower, and the meteor shower was the fireworks for 2015 and the new light ages.
So, okay, so these light ages, what can we expect aside from the instant manifestation? Are you saying that people who have and you and I believe, I think, that everybody has a level of intuition. So are we going to see a lot more people stepping into that intuition and finally accepting that?
Well, people are waking up. And
they
they're receiving their gifts right now. And some of them are going to be amazed at the gifts that they receive. Also, you're going to see that when people lie or they're doing things in the dark, that's all coming to light right now. So that's going to be shown to everybody. You're going to see, it's almost like transparency. You're going to see through everybody. And even if they lie to you, you're going to be able to tell easier when they lie to you.
And that's pretty much the message that I got 7 years ago. And of course, in our world, timing is always it's a touchy issue because you never know if it's going to be the next 24 hours, the next year, or whatever. So when I was initially shown this, and I got it in a vision, I thought it was going to be 2008, and then I thought it was going to be 2009, and so so George is laughing. So but what I'm finding out is that it was actually this year heading into next year.
Yes, 2015. And if you've been doing things wrong, you better start getting things right because I'm telling you, you're going to have somebody's boot on your throat and it's going to come back and bite you so hard.
So that would suggest that people that are, like you're saying, doing things wrong are entering a karmic cycle.
Well, actually, our karma is over. Anything you do right now to someone comes back instantly.
Instantly.
We don't
Oh, wow.
carry it from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime
Okay.
anymore. So if you steal from somebody, you hurt somebody, you say bad things to people, that's going to come back and hurt you. You're going to be hurting
And
yourself.
did that start as of December 1st, or did that start as of the winter solstice?
Well, it actually started around Thanksgiving,
Okay.
but it really went into full bore on the solstice
Okay.
and the new moon, and especially coming into 2015.
Okay. So what can people expect between now and Thursday, which is 2015? I asked you this earlier. Is it going to snow in Las Vegas? You know, the meteorologists can't seem to agree on it.
You know, I've been here since 1994. I came here in 1994, and the only time it's ever snowed on my side of town was in
Right.
April. So
Right. And I've been here 25 years, and it snowed in December in 2010, but I live on the southwest side of town.
yes,
So-
and it didn't stick to the
Oh,
ground.
this is Vegas. It never sticks.
No, in April it stuck. We made a snowman.
Oh, well, I had actually a couple people tell me they did make snowmen. But yeah, so I think it's going to be a light dusting on New Year.
I think it's going to be a light dusting.
Yeah.
I think we may even get a little bit of hail because it's going to get cold enough for hail. I do think we're going to get some dusting, probably more on the west side than the east side.
Yeah, because you guys are a little bit lower.
When
Yeah.
you're closer to the mountains.
Yes, I am actually. I'm only about 10, 15 minutes
Mm-hmm.
from Red Rock. Yeah. And I love that. So what are do you do celebrity predictions? Do you have any?
I don't really do celebrity
I don't do those
predictions. There's been a couple times that when celebrities have passed, they came to me, like when Queen Diana.
Oh, Princess Diana?
When
Yeah.
Princess Diana died, she came to me, and it was my daughter's birthday, and I said, Princess Diana, why are you coming to me? She said, I wanted you to know why I left.
And
Okay.
why did she leave?
Well, she said that she could never be happy with,
Charles.
she could never be happy with her boyfriend, and they would
Oh.
never let her be in peace. Syed
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
what's his first name?
I don't remember. Muhammad something.
Anyway, she said she could never be at peace, and I said, yes, but your sons need you, and she says, yes, but I can help them more on this side than I can that side.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And when John F. K. Jr. died, he came to me,
Aw.
and it showed him and his dad sitting in like an S chair. He was facing this way, and his dad was facing this way, and they were talking side by side as adults.
Mm.
And I said, that's really interesting. He said, yeah, it's the first time in my life I've talked to my dad as an adult.
Oh.
That was
That
really
must have
interesting.
been heartwarming but heartbreaking at the
Yeah.
same time. So what are some of the big things that you think are going to happen in 2015?
Well, I think that this is a time of new changes. This is also an 8-year. It's the year of the golden ram,
Mhm.
which is also money. I think this is going to be a great time for new businesses to start up. I think you're going to see a lot of new businesses start up. I think a lot of the businesses that have been dying out, like old-fashioned radio,
George will be glad to hear this.
yeah, some of the old things that have been around for a long, long time, I think you're going to see that dying out. I think the way we look at TV is already starting to die out. That's starting to die out. I think that it's a time of change, and I think that all of us have magnificent, wonderful changes coming. And the one thing I want to stress is don't ever be worried or concerned about change, especially now
Right.
in the light ages, because it's only going to get better. It's not going to get worse. So I think that this is definitely a year of change. It's definitely a good year for money, and it's definitely a good year to start new businesses and for things to start up
Good.
that we've never seen before. I
Good.
think we're going to see technology take leaps just like this quantum energy stuff
Yeah.
that is beyond anything we've ever seen before.
You also said earlier that there's going to be, I think it was, you didn't use the word visitations, but it's something like that. Do you think the Virgin Mary and her angel, do you think they're going to
I think
have?
they're already here.
Oh, I would agree with
I
that.
think they're already visiting people. I think that a lot of people are coming into their connection. You've talked about before about people not being connected. I think people right now are going to start getting connected. They're waking up. The connection's going to be stronger and better than ever. The last 2 years, we've all kind of felt like we were lost in space out there, and now everybody's reconnecting.
Yep.
And those that have never been connected before are going to be connected. And you have to understand it's not really a religious thing. It's
No.
more of a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual connection with spirit that is going to be phenomenal to everybody.
And I think it's also about, this is the time of year where people tend to do a lot of life review, and they tend to really look at who's causing some drama in their life, and they move them to that outer Saturn ring of friends, They may not completely get rid of them, but they stop talking to them as much. They stop.
Well, we're
being
definitely
interested.
drawing the line in the sand because
Yeah.
the things that used to be okay are no longer
Yeah.
okay. It's not going to be business as usual because we're going to be more choosy about the friends we have.
I think so.
We're going to be choosy about the ones we keep, and we're going to also be choosy about the things that we do and won't do
Yeah.
this year more than ever.
Yeah. If you have a question for Mary Rose or for me, feel free to call us at 702-609-7626. And if you can't call in on that line, you can also Skype in from anywhere in the world. And you just go sign into Skype and type in All Talk Radio in the search bar, and it'll pop up, and George can answer the phone. Now, we talked a little bit off air, George, about twin flames and soulmates.
Yeah.
So can you please tell people what is the difference?
To me, a twin flame is one that you were born with, that it's your perfect match.
But those can be pretty turbulent relationships, though.
Well, they can be karmic relationships, yeah.
Right.
But a soulmate is someone, like you and I could be soulmates.
Right.
You and George, or I and George could be soulmates. A soulmate is someone that you come together with. We have like 260,000 people in a soul family. And so a soulmate could be any one of those 260,000 people. It's people that you've known through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. Sometimes they're good lifetimes. Sometimes they're not so good lifetimes. I mean, sometimes we come back as sisters or friends or family. In my life, in this present life, my mother, I was my mother's mother in this lifetime. And then she was my mother in the same lifetime.
Interesting.
So, which was a good karmic thing. So we had a good karmic connection. But and some of these relationships you're talking about that are so turbulent, one of the things that happens is that, let's say, for instance, in war, if I killed you and you killed me, and I killed you and you killed me, and there was a lot of hatred there.
Right.
Well, they might put us together as a relationship because love heals all wounds.
It does.
And
It does heal all
so
wounds.
that's how you work out that karma and come to a point of peace, because when you're mad and angry at somebody, you're only hurting yourself.
Right. And because you keep that anger inside, and you know from working on the body, and I know, keeping anger inside is depression. But it also stresses the muscles, it stresses the bones, and it just adds stuff that just doesn't need to be there.
Well, and you have to understand it only hurts you, as I
Yeah.
said, but those people are going to pay the price eventually anyway, especially now. They're going to pay the price, they're going to pay the consequences, and they're going to have to take care of their own problem. They have to do
Right.
their own work.
So twin flame is an exact mirror.
It doesn't have to be an exact mirror. It could just be someone you've known. A twin flame is someone that when you're together, it's just, you can be thousands of miles apart and you're still together.
Right. So
You just have a connection that is just unbreakable. You can go through hardship and misery and lots of things happening, and yet the two of you will still be drawn back together.
that was the couple I was telling you about from Boulder City, Nevada, and I believe that they're twin flames.
Well, and you have to understand too that a lot of times, let's say they always say the worst for last.
Okay.
The last karma is always your worst karma. So let's say you have a really hard road ahead of you, so they will have you meet your twin flame. They will separate so that the person that has the karma has to go do that karma. But as long as they know that something is there that's better, it gives them hope, they always come through it.
Okay. See, and that's a huge thing. Is
And
hope.
that's huge.
Yeah. So what do you see for me for 2015?
Oh,
Put you on the
sweetie,
spot
I
here.
think that your life is about to get more joyous than you've ever
Oh,
had. I think
good,
that your divine love
good.
is coming in.
Okay.
I think that your work is going to start picking up.
Yep.
You've got many surprises in your work.
Oh.
Your healing is going to really be skyrocketed.
I've been getting some messages that I need to sit down and
this
channel.
is going to be a very profitable year for you,
Okay,
too. You're going
good.
to see money coming easier than it has in the past
Good.
years for you.
Good. And yeah, I know that some of the messages I've been getting lately are that I actually need to sit down and I need to do some automatic writing and just bring through some of the stuff and this is from the Virgin Mary telling me
Right.
that what I need to do
Right.
to work with the modality that she's downloading to me. And that's another word that we use in the psychic world as a download.
Well, they're doing a lot of downloading right now. That's
They
why
are.
people are so tired.
They are. And I just want to put this out there too. There are some signs, basic signs that people should probably be aware of if they've got any level of intuition. And I see this a lot on Facebook, but one of them that I'm going to say is ringing in the ears. And it's I've experienced that for a long time, and that's
what I'm seeing with the ringing in the ears, I'm seeing a lot of people with ringing in the ears, and what I've seen is that a lot of these people have damaged their ears in the past with loud music, especially in the 60s, 70s, 80s.
No,
90s.
there wasn't any loud music in the 60s.
And now that damage is like a ringing, but there's also more efficient ways of fixing that now.
Well, I mean, it's definitely can be due to that. I did grow up in the 60s, so I was being a little sarcastic there.
I knew you were.
But, and I grew up in San Francisco in the 60s. No
yeah.
drugs, nothing. It was a very peaceful city in the 60s. And if you believe
I lived
that.
during the 60s myself.
Right. right.
And I know a lot about San Francisco.
Right. Oh, dear. So you were the one I saw at J.K. Park.
No, not me. I wasn't ever there.
Oh, we have to exchange stories.
Maybe I should have been.
So, but I think also that the ringing in the ear, at least for me, because I didn't damage it. I did go to my share of concerts, but I didn't damage my hearing. And so for me, I believe that the ringing in one ear, because it goes away, it's not constant, is the universe giving me a message.
Well, and two, they're opening you up. They're changing your
Right.
frequencies.
Right.
So when you can see in spirit, as you do and I do, and when you hear in spirit, it's a frequency change. So just like cats and dogs see and hear in spirit, they're going to change that frequency.
Yeah. Right.
So a lot of that is them changing the frequency and checking your tone, just like when you're in school and you get an ear test to see if you can hear the different frequencies. So they are definitely changing frequencies, whether it be visual or audio right now.
Right. So I'm clairaudient. You're clairaudient also, correct? You hear.
No, yes, I hear, but I'm really more clairvisual.
You're clairvoyant. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get a lot of visions.
Yeah, I see and hear at the same time.
Okay, yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah. So do you also see auras?
I do see some auras, but not extensively.
Yeah, I did see those as a child. And I remember being able to see the energy around trees and all that stuff.
Oh, I do that.
Yeah,
I see that around.
and I think I mentioned it to a childhood friend, and she thought I was crazy. And, of course, again, San Francisco in the 60s. So I stopped using that gift as a child. And I look back now and I could kick myself. I wish I could go back to that 10-year-old and say, no, develop it. Because I did see auras as a child, and I don't now. So it's frustrating to me.
Well, I can look at a tree, and even if the branch has been cut, I can still see where that other branch was.
Yeah. I could.
The aura is still there around it.
Okay. See, and that's something that like I said, that's a gift I actually wish I hadn't relinquished. I would like to have that one back.
Well, actually, you can reclaim your gifts.
I've been trying to reclaim that for a while now, and it's just
take back your power, your full and complete power.
Yeah. So, but what I found though is that I do depend more on my clairaudience. So when someone asks me to check their energy field, I don't check for color. I check for emotion.
Yeah.
And I check to see, and the chakras will their energy will tell me what's going on. So that's how I check somebody's auric field and their chakras. It's just, I sense it with my hands.
Well, I feel the energy. I think we're saying the same thing. I feel the energy of the person.
Yeah.
And the cycle they're in.
Yeah.
And what I find in my readings a lot of times is that, like, sometimes I'll say you're in a 3 or you're in a 2 or you're in a 1. And if you have a friend, they're usually in the same cycle you are. That's why you're friends.
Right, because they're being the mirror. Absolutely. So I know I get some of the common questions. You probably get them too. The 3 common questions that I get are finances, health, and love life, right?
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, and that's usually, and most of the time, when I'm doing a reading, it winds up being more on, and I'd say this is about 80% of the time, winds up being more on finances and career.
To me, it ends up being more on love.
See, yeah, and so maybe that's just what I focus on, because that's people being the mirror for me. I've had few lately that have been more focused on love, and because their career is going well and their finances are going well, so they're trying to put that last piece in the puzzle.
Well, usually if their love life is good, everything else gets good with it.
Yeah, because they're feeling that level of peace.
And if their love life is not good, unless say their money or their business is good, they feel like something is missing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Very much so.
Exactly. So, if you have any questions for me or Mary Rose, we've only got about 15 minutes left or so. The number is 702-609-7626. If you have any questions, if you want to call and ask either one of us a question about your own future in 2015, you've only got a few minutes to do that. And I'm at Karma Connections, which is on Rainbow and Warm Springs. And you've been to that store.
I have been. It's a
Yeah.
very nice store.
It's a nice
very,
store.
very nice store. If you get a chance, go over there. The owners are absolutely
Right.
awesome. They're wonderful
Yep, so
people.
hopefully Tracy and Steve are listening tonight.
Uh-huh.
And I think you and I and a few other have agreed that, yes, Tracy, you do need to expand your space.
Yeah, she started out small, and in 2 months she already outgrew the store, so now she's looking for a new location.
Yeah.
And we wish them every good luck in the new year. And of
Yeah.
course, this is a perfect time for them to move because it's a good year
Right,
for that.
right. And actually in February, we go in, I think it's late February, right, that we go into Mercury retrograde?
It's January, actually.
we go
I
in
think
January.
it's
Okay.
the 18th or 19th.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not sure what day we go into Mercury retrograde, but it's only retrograde, 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's a shorter one this
Yeah.
time. Thank God.
Mercury retrograde always throws me off kilter because, of course, that's communications,
yep.
cell phones,
Electronics, right?
computers. I mean, that's when everything
Yep,
goes haywire with those.
traffic, absolutely, absolutely.
People aren't thinking clearly. There's
Right.
more accidents during that time.
Yep, yep, yep. So that's a time to leave 15 minutes early and not get upset on your way to work.
15 minutes early. I leave an hour early. Just so I make sure I'm not going to be late, because invariably when you leave 15 early, you're going to run into an accident.
Yep, yep. So what other things would you tell people about being a psychic, being I know you don't want to call yourself a healer, but you're doing the healing modality. What else would you tell people about this?
I would say that this is going to be the best time of all. As I told you, don't be afraid of change, because change is going to be the best. It's just the best. We're getting rid of the negativity. We're getting rid of the darkness. We're coming into happy, joyous, better times. The technology, before they can even get it on the market right now, it's already obsolete. It's just amazing.
It is. I think eventually we're going to go. I think digital cameras are probably going to die out. I don't think that's going to be in 2015, but you've got the.
They're just going to implant it into our heads.
Well, that's already happened to
Download
you.
it right in.
Well,
It's
they have
coming.
a little implant right now. It's about 1/4 of an inch long. I don't know if I discussed this with you or not, but it's a little implant they put in your body, and it can tell you 3 months before you're ever going to have a heart attack. And it can tell you if you got cancer or anything. They just implant it in your body, and it'll actually send a signal to your cell phone and to your doctor's cell phone and tell you that you're about to have a heart
Yeah,
attack.
see,
You guys need to
I
do
don't
that.
want the implant. No thanks. No thanks. I can imagine
mean,
the
they
other
already
things that
have
might tell
that.
my doctor too. Jane's about to go to the bathroom. No, I see. I think I'm going to avoid that implant.
Well, what it does is it checks your body chemistry, because your body's chemistry starts changing
Right.
whenever you get sick, whether it be the cancer or whether it be a heart attack or whatever. And so they can tell by the way that chemistry changes which one you're going to have.
I think for 2015, I've seen in the last few years, just even with me going into alternative healing, the pranic healing, and being introduced to other modalities, I think you're going to really see a huge leap in 2015 into people really going into these alternative modalities, not just pranic healing or quantum healing or shamanism or Reiki, but I think you're going to see a lot of
Yeah.
that, because people are starting to get to the point, and I do a lot of work with the veteran community, but I think, and I talk to these guys and they tell me they don't want to take these medications.
No, they don't.
They don't. And so I think there's going to be a huge leap. I think there's going to be a lot of progress made with other things in that, when they look at things like pranic healing or Reiki or all this other stuff, and people finally decide, it's not woo-woo. It's not crazy. There really is, excuse me, there really is, there are these modalities that work, and I think there's going to be great breakthroughs as far as that goes. I even think pranic healing and the stuff that I know I need to bring into this earth, it's going to, and this is, I'll tell you right now, this is the vision I'm getting.
Yes.
So I'm just seeing a huge push
Oh, absolutely.
on this. And so, and I'm really, really hoping that the medical community could actually, really look at this and not, I know. I know, but I really would hope that the medical community could do some sort of incorporate this into what they're doing. There is a doctor in Southern California that does pranic healing first on his clients.
Yes.
So
There are some that are going that way. There's some that went and got their doctorate just so they could use those gifts. Years ago, I'll never forget this. My mother was watching TV, and it's when they had first started having a lot of cancer in people, and there just was hardly ever a chance that you could ever survive cancer. Nowadays, almost everybody does survive.
Right.
But at that time, they interviewed this doctor, and the interview said, well, what do you think they're going to find a cure for cancer? And he says, I don't want to find a cure for cancer. I'll be out of a job, and I have to dig ditches, and I don't want to dig ditches.
Yeah, and there's been people that have actually discovered that and been chased out of the United States. The doctor that was in, I think it was Texas or something, that actually moved to Mexico because the treatment that he was doing was curing cancer.
Yes.
And he got chased out by the government. Oh, Mosh, did I just say that? Oh, dear. Oh, that's right. This is internet radio. I can say the truth.
I have no idea what you just said. I was not listening.
But I do think that when people turn to the supplements and they turn to the herbal stuff and they get back onto the organic food, I think you're going to see a big push in health.
I think you're going to see a lot of cures coming forward now that have never been there before.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the government or anyone can keep that back, even the AMA. I don't think anyone
I
can
don't
keep
think
that
they
back
can
any
either.
longer.
Because what are they going to do? Were they going to say you can't use essential oils now because they're from plants? How are they going to stop that? You know?
Well, it reminds me of the movie I saw a long time ago called East LA. I'm sure you guys saw that a long time ago.
I'm about 5 years behind on movies.
Oh, this was a long time ago,
Well, I mean,
way back in the 80s. They had a movie called East LA. I was born in East LA. And these guys got deported because they were Spanish, and they were Americans. They were American-born and everything, but they didn't have any ID on them. So
Yeah, it was Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, Cheech and Chong.
Oh,
yeah.
that one, Born in East LA.
Yeah, born in East LA.
Yeah.
So they deported them, and they came back, and they had this whole busload of people. So the Border Patrol was going to chase them, and he told them, he said, okay, now when we get to the top, he said, when we get across the line, he said, everybody take off in a different direction. He said, they can't get us all.
And they all came to LA. And then Arizona, and then New Mexico.
Well, actually, they were here before we were, so.
Right. But you know, and even then you talk about the Hispanic culture, especially in Mexico, they're very much into herbs and all that alternative. Very much into
Very
that.
much. You would have no problem at all having alternative healing in Mexico because they believe in that. They believe in, spirit still heals people.
Yep.
So it's amazing.
Yeah. So that's one of my predictions for 2015 is that the alternative field is going to take a huge leap. And I actually think that it's going to take a huge leap here in Las Vegas.
Well, it's actually taken a huge leap everywhere, and that's like Time with Monkey.
Yeah.
You get saturated of so many people, and then pretty soon that just becomes the full thought and belief.
Right. And that's one of the things I do like about pranic healing. There's not many of us here in Las Vegas. Maybe a dozen. There's not a lot. There's a lot of Reiki masters here, a lot of yoga instructors, but there's not a lot of pranic healers.
So give us an explanation for your chronic healing.
Okay, so pranic healing works with, a lot of people believe that there are 7 major energy centers or chakras. Master Choa Koksui, the founder of pranic healing, studied with various yogis and gurus all over the world and discovered that there's actually more. So his theory was he used different colors and different vibrations of the colors. And his theory is kind of like making coffee. Get rid of the negative energy first and then put in divine blessed energy.
Right.
And what you're doing, it's working at a cellular level. It works on obviously on the crown chakra, which is our spirit, one of our spiritual centers. Very important to keep that clean. He also developed meditations that go with this that clear your energy field. So in pranic healing, what we do first is we do meditation first and then follow that with removal of lower vibrational energies or energies that you don't need. I work a lot with people that are angry. So I work a lot on the solar plexus. I work a lot on the chakras down here. I do a lot of work on the heart. The adrenals. Yeah, I work on, but I also have another technique. I can't quite make it public yet because I haven't downloaded all of it, but I do incorporate the Virgin Mary's technique into this as well. And the technique that she's given me is really powerful. So I combine what she teaches me and what pranic healing is teaching me, and when I combine her method, my sessions actually aren't quite as long. They go a lot faster.
Right.
So it's about, and it works on all different types of things. I have a client that is completely arthritis free, and that was basically done. Once we got down to it, that was 4 sessions, and what really worked was getting her to do some forgiveness work.
Absolutely.
And then, because what happened was, as she would do the forgiveness work, because I'd put her into a meditative state during the session and talk her through a meditation through the forgiveness part, and as I'm doing that, I'm also pulling the energy out.
Right.
So we did a lot of that. She's now arthritis free.
Good.
Doesn't have any arthritis at all. I've had some other luck with other people that have had breathing issues and all that kind of stuff, and they're now fine. So what pranic healing does is it works on emotional level, it works on a physical level, like with the arthritis, and a mental level as well. So we have a technique in pranic healing called pranic psychotherapy that is not sitting on the couch and telling me. And pretty much people don't need to tell me. I ask that they do. I ask that they do tell me their issues, their health issues, because that gives me an idea of the colors that I'm going to use and where I'm going to work.
Right.
Now, when I work on their body, I don't have to touch them. So I just use my hands to sense what I call where the heavy energy is.
Right.
And so I've only got 3 minutes left. So I do that and then clean it out. So I work on the spleen, which is another chakra that Master Choa found. And he found the ones in the back. And so when all of those are clean and balanced, people tend to be happier. They tend to be more connected. Life flows. It's getting rid of the energetic blockages. So that's what pranic healing does.
Color and color healing. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to check out pranic healing, you can go to pranichealing.com and check out Master Ko's site. He's the global leader of pranic healing and the man that I have studied under. And I have a website that I haven't updated for a while. It's Pranic Jane Las Vegas. That's PRANIC Jane. Actually, it's LV. And then you can like our Facebook page, Soul Chat, which is the Facebook page for this show. And you have a Facebook page? You have a website?
I do. It's Mary Rose Psychic or Psychic Mary Rose. Either one of those two, you can get me at it. And we have lots of testimony on there.
And yes, she is a wonderful psychic. I know that. Just from
you
some
so
of the
much.
stuff
You're
you've
very
told
kind.
me. So we want to wish you, we've got, how many minutes left? 32 minutes left. So we want to wish you...
No, 2, not 32.
George! I do want to wish everybody a Happy New Year, especially if you're going to be here in Las Vegas. Please be safe. We are supposed to get snow. People here in Las Vegas do not know how to drive in the rain, let alone the snow. So we do want you to be careful. If you're going to be on the Strip, don't even plan to leave the Strip until 5 a.m. in the morning. It will be closed to traffic starting around 2 or 3. And don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive either. Any words for you?
Just Happy New Year, enjoy, and be ready for change.
Yep. And you can reach me at 702-204-7750 for a psychic reading or a pranic healing session, or you can check with Karmic Connections and their Facebook page as well. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Jane McGuire, and I want to thank my guest today, Mary Rose. And we wait for Miss Elena Risto to come back, and we are going out to her song right now.
Here I am, standing at the door, looking back at life as it's been before, holding on to things that might